Brad with College SportsCast, and we are presented by DaFanBoys.
Sponsored by the FanBoys.
But it's okay. We'll just wait on Brad and his slow internet connection that he says he got rebooted, that is supposed to go faster. It's not.
It's probably going to pick up here in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, maybe. You got to wait. Drink that Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's kind of like that old school lawnmower.
Yeah, he's got to get blurry, and then it's gonna be a couple of seconds after that.
Yep, I'm pulling it just like that old weed eater.
Here we go.
Everything.
There's the blur.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Hey, guys.
And he is back.
Welcome back.
Hey, that internet connection doesn't work. You went and checked it. You got it checked. It didn't work this time.
Well,
just want to let you know.
Okay. I did talk to somebody today, and they did.
You paid what for it?
Uh-oh.
That didn't happen.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope you kept that invoice. We got to send that invoice back. They need to come back. They need to come back.
Well,
we waited. We waited 15 seconds.
No.
But it's all good. We were out here just.
We was revving up the motor, when you.
That's
came
right.
on.
That's right. I mean, I was talking about, how I suck and how you're still frozen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. I don't know. All right, guys. Welcome to College SportsCast. We are still having some internet issues, apparently.
You know who else is having issues? Because Auburn still can't not pitch.
Yes.
They are.
That's been a season-long thing now. So
they're still walking and hitting batters. By the way, they've walked and hit 2 runners on base, and they are on in the top of the 6th right now. And they probably would be blowing this team out if they weren't walking and hitting batters.
Ouch.
So this
College SportsCast is sponsored by Bluegrass Brads. We're also sponsoring the FanBoys and Greenville Sports Media. And we had scheduled for tonight to do an NFL draft show, and that's what we're going to do. I've got my guys on with me. Got Jason Harrison at the bottom and John Roberts at the top. And we are going to do our very own NFL draft show 2 days from now on Thursday night. We will be live during the NFL draft, and we're going to kind of do some instant analysis and talk about the draft tonight. But we are 2 days out right now, so we're going to finish up and be kind of our last talk show, basically, on what we think might happen with the NFL draft this month. We have had NFL mock draft guy on with us and done a mock draft show. We have done a show with a Seattle Seahawks NFL Draft Insider that does the Seahawks draft blog, Rob Staten. And then on this past Sunday, we had Derek Sager on from the X Pactor podcast, and he is talking NFL draft with us and the players that the Packers might be looking at. And we kind of run through a lot of names with that podcast as well. So we're going to kind of dig into some of this stuff. The first thing,
let's continue. Okay.
The first thing I want to dig into John, is we talked about this on Sunday with Derek, and the Jets have finally traded for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. It seems like it was 2-3 months in the makings. I don't know.
So, which is exactly what I was going to get in there. I was like, let's extend that conversation that we just had on Sunday about the Packers and Aaron Rodgers and the deal. And then, again, day later or so, and the trade actually finally goes through.
Right.
And so part of the deal is they went from being the 15th pick in the first round to the 13th.
They actually went. They traded Rodgers and actually went up in the draft.
Yeah, and then they got a second round, third round, and something else. Gave up a first and second round because you gave up your 15th pick. You gave up. Right. I can't say gave up, but anyway. I
think it was the second round. I think it was the second round.
Yeah. And they're also getting a future conditional pick next year that could be
it's more than likely going to be a first round pick.
Right, but it could be a second round, but it's most likely a first round pick. Yeah.
All Aaron Rodgers has to do is play 65% of the plays for the Jets, and it's a first round pick. I would say that's pretty much a done deal unless he gets hurt. I mean, unless Rodgers gets hurt.
Unless they sit him and play the business of the NFL football game.
Oh,
nah, I just don't see it. I mean, unless Rodgers gets hurt.
No, I don't think that'll happen.
That ain't happening. But anyway, so it's more of, was he hurt, and that's the reason why it was a second round pick, or otherwise he's playing and it's a first round pick. So
basically, yeah.
But
so
anyway,
they swapped 13 and 15 in the first round in this trade. So the Jets are now 15 and the Packers are now 13 in the picking order. We were talking with Derek the other night on Thursday afternoon with him, and he had some guys in mind for that 15th pick, but he wasn't sure if they would still be there for the 15th pick. Does going up 2 spots to 13 maybe guarantee that one of those there, you think?
Well, I actually continued some of this conversation with him once the trade actually went through. I did go and talk to him again, and I was asking him, okay, what do you think that they'll do now that they have made this trade?
I have an idea.
That there's a possibility that they trade again and trade up to anywhere from the 8th to 10th pick, and that may guarantee the pick that they're looking for as far as getting one of the players, because one of the players is JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, that he was talking about as far as a possibility of getting a playmaker wide receiver. If they trade, there's a possibility that he's still around at 13.
Paris Johnson Jr. was one of them that he was talking about.
Right. Then there was a few offensive linemen, so we're a few tackles, and we were talking about Skoronski, Paris Johnson Jr.
Yeah.
And I think there was one other guy that we were talking about as far as tackles. But either way, he thought, those guys could also still be around it. They could go.
That was the Georgia tackle, Broderick
Jones. Yeah. So, there's that. He also thinks that there's a possibility that they take what they got, trade up, and go 8 and 10 and secure, whomever that they're going for, kind of make it even a better shot to get who they want.
Unless the Bears trade down again from 9, I just don't see one of those teams trading down.
Well,
in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range.
Well, we'll have to see. And again, there's a possibility. Well, now that they've gone up to 13, he doesn't really see them backing off unless they can get a pretty decent haul in probably the second round, late first, second round type deal. I mean, they may have used the fact that they had now a 13 pick to now trade back and get more picks in the first round or first and second round. There's a possibility of that happening too. So,
Right.
And there's also a possibility of them having 2 first-round draft picks. When you think about it, they got this year's and then obviously the one that may end up getting. And so they may use that, and some teams in the latter part of the first round may use that to save salary cap issues and go out and get a player. Falling back is not a bad thing. Patriots.
Right.
Well, they also
said,
dumped $60 million contract yesterday as well.
Right, because they got that trade done before September 1st.
You see what I'm saying? So
right.
They have a lot
because
of
that deal was
room.
done before September 1st. They were able to dump $60 million.
$60 million hit on the cap.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, that's a humongous hit towards the cap. So,
Yep.
So that's the one thing that, a lot of people are not talking about in this trade is that the Packers actually dumped $60 million off the cap hit as well. So,
right. So they've got a lot of room to play with now.
Right.
They got to. They have to capitalize off this. What they got coming up. They have to capitalize.
Right. So
there
is that.
I believe that if JSN is there at 13, that's who they're going to pick.
Right. It makes sense.
And I don't believe that there are too many teams above them that are going to be going after and looking at a wide receiver. I think 13 is actually, if that's what they're looking for, I think 13 is actually going to be a pretty safe spot to be able to pick up their top receiver, because the receivers are more than likely going to start going off the board in that 17 to 25, 6 range in the first round. Somewhere in that range, because you've got Quentin Johnston from TCU, you got Zay Flowers that's in there that possibly could be, and you've got Jordan Addison. That's the 4 with JSN. You've got 4 receivers that could possibly go in the first round.
Right.
But most predictions have those other 3 in that, 16 to 26 range.
Right.
Being picked. So I feel pretty confident that 13, even though it's only 2 picks higher, I think that Jackson Smith, and I can't say his last name, y'all can make fun of.
Njigba. Yes.
Okay.
So you say the letter N, and then you just say
Jigba. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Spelled like it sounds.
In Jigba, kind of, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Mel Kiper has him. Mel Kiper has him going 12th to the Texans.
Does he? To the Texans? Well, I mean, and like I said,
so they would get Bryce Young and then get. Well, no. Bryce Young would be going to
Carolina
Panthers.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, the Texans. Yeah.
Doesn't the Texans have? Don't they have a top 5 pick as well?
They have the second.
They pick second. They pick second.
Pick, that's right.
They have the second pick. Yeah.
They have the second pick. Yep.
They could get CJ Stroud and
Wow. Hey, the NFL draft, man, you just never know. The unexpected.
But then again,
I mean, things can change.
Levis has been, I think his odds for going number 1 overall went from 50-1 to 4-1.
Yes, because
Today. Now, listen,
because
I'm going to
apparently
get in.
he's been telling family members he's going number 1.
Okay.
Supposedly.
Okay, so I want to get into that because that is something that's going on today. We woke up morning and the odds are now saying that are moving in the favor of that Levis might be picked number 1. And then later in the morning, it was revealed that Levis had told some family members that he was going number 1. Okay.
Probably
now,
I believe I'm the number 1 pick. I can believe.
Apparently, from those family members is where this leaked out.
Yeah, because the number 1 pick knows that they're the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
for the most part, because that deal, they probably are then they may be signing a contract, and the draft is all but a formality.
Right. They know 3 or 4 or 5 days before.
Yeah. Because they're already negotiating
right
with whomever they're trying to pick. They're going ahead and doing all that.
Yeah.
You're getting that stuff out of the way.
But I want to say this. Will Levis is a stand-up guy. I don't think Will Levis would tell something like that and try to try to make something up and try to create a buzz. I don't think Will Levis would do that. So
because it doesn't really do him any favors if it turns out that he wasn't like in sort of any sort of talks or any negotiation. It doesn't do him any favors if he's leaking out there that he's going number 1 when he in fact is nowhere near going number 1. So that would be the really most odd thing to do, is to start telling people that you're going number 1.
Yeah.
Without any.
And matter of fact, he is now the leading favorite to at least go number 2 as of today. The odds, they have put out odds on the 1st and 2nd pick. Bryce Young is favorite at number 1, but Will Levis is number 2 now, and he's the favorite to be picked number 2.
What is Anthony Richardson on that board? What odds is Anthony Richardson? Because I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I would not be surprised if Anthony Richardson was the number 1 pick. I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. The odds are plus 3,500 for him to be the 2nd pick.
Oh, I mean,
Anthony Richardson.
I would not be surprised if he went number 1. I would not be surprised if he went number 1. He's probably out of all 4, he has the most upside. You see what I'm saying?
He's got the highest. He's got the highest ceiling.
Yes.
He also has the lowest floor.
But yes, that's exactly right. That's what. He's so raw. You just don't know. Like, here's
okay. Let me ask you a question. Did we think Lamar down there with the Ravens, Jackson would be
Lamar Jackson was the Heisman Trophy winner.
But you know how Heisman Trophy winners have fared in the NFL. You know how they fared in the NFL. They don't do well, and so no one thought that he could come from what he was doing in Louisville and do that in the NFL.
How about in the Ravens quarterback room? There were 3 Heisman trophies at one point. When you had Lamar Jackson, Troy Smith, and
who's the other one?
The Baylor quarterback,
Robert
Griffin.
Yeah, Robert.
All
Griffin.
3 of them were in.
Exactly
all 3 of them were on the team at the same time, and you had 3 Heisman Trophy winners sitting in the quarterback room.
I mean,
and he turned out to be the MVP. So, trust me when I hear you, and I understand. It's probably between those.
I think out of the 4, I think Anthony Richardson is the biggest gamble.
Yeah, exactly.
He is the biggest gamble.
So
he's the biggest gamble.
He's the highest risk and the highest reward.
That's what I'm exactly.
Thus, the biggest gamble. Yes.
But you have to, for me, you have to also take in the bottom and the top. And with his bottom, I just don't know that I would not risk the number 1 pick on him. I wouldn't risk the number 2 pick.
Okay. This is what I'm saying. Now, you're in the business of entertainment, right? Who out of those 4, if you're picking in the top 4, or in a lot of cases, you need to make sure you're filling the stadium. So if you hit a home run with this guy right there, from a business standpoint, he has generated revenue 10 times over than what you ever imagined.
If you hit a home run, but that to me is about a 40% chance that he ever reaches his potential.
That's 50-50.
Brad,
50-50.
I'm just gonna tell you, you would be a horrible GM. I'm just
gonna
go ahead. I'm gonna put it right out there. You would be a horrible GM.
Well,
because you would.
I mean, maybe so.
Risks. You don't take any risks.
Yeah, you have to take.
And
like
you would not succeed at anything like with sports. I'm just saying, it just won't. It won't.
Look at Brad.
He's frozen.
Brad, like, yeah.
I mean,
but I'm just saying, like, if you're in a management position in a sports team, like, you kind of have to put your money where your mouth is. And
who's your top 2, Brad? Who is your top 2?
Okay, so I actually believe that Bryce Young will wind up going number 1 Thursday.
But, okay, if you were the GM, would you pick Bryce Young? Would you pick Bryce Young?
Probably not.
Why not? Why not?
Why?
Because he's too small.
He's too small.
Okay.
He's too small. To me, out of the quarterbacks, here's my take on. So Bryce Young, while has lots of talent, he's probably a $190 soaking wet, and 5'10", and I just don't believe that he will be able to take the beating in the NFL with these dudes, and he will hold up.
Gotcha.
I just don't think he will.
Okay.
Now,
I am 2 inches taller than Bryce Young and about 20 pounds.
Yeah,
not muscle. I don't have the muscle.
But I will say, Brad. This is the same guy who came in as a true freshman and captivated the entire nation like everything else.
But I mean, Jason,
he was a high. That's why I asked. And he was a high top, and he did it in the SEC, where they really called the minor league of the NFL. So he had to protect himself against those dudes.
But let me ask you this: Alabama quarterbacks, who was was Tua not more talented than Bryce Young?
Tua had.
I feel like he was.
Tua had more weapons than Bryce Young when he was at Alabama. Tua had an NFL team.
He had an arsenal.
The only thing holding Tua back
that were first round.
The only thing holding Tua back is his health. Really, that's it.
I can understand
because he took too many chances.
He's not going down. Bryce Young knows how to go down.
Bryce at least knows how to fall down when he
avoids the big hit. When he's getting hit,
he knows how to go down. Tua didn't understand it, and that's why he had the high ankle sprains. That's why he had to have that tightrope surgery, stuff like that. Yes, the concussion. Because if he just goes down, that hit doesn't happen. He doesn't get the.
But my point is this: if you are examining these quarterbacks, I actually think Tua was probably a better quarterback than Bryce Young.
I mean, they both were precision passers.
Yeah. And that's what we're saying. He had 4 first rounders.
He had 4 first rounders.
And he was throwing to he had 1 year with him, and then he got hurt on him. And then he had to Hey, listen, you saw what the heck.
Anthony Richardson is completely wrong. While I agree, he has probably the greatest top side of any of the four. Okay, but he is so raw and barely had any time as a starting quarterback in college. And even when he did, he was a 50% completion percentage, 52, something like that. He just has not shown an ability to take that and be able to holster his exuberant talent that he does have, because he does have that uber talent.
All I'm saying is,
Hey, Cam Newton was MVP one year.
I'm just saying
Exactly. Cam
all
Newton was a total different story than Anthony Richardson is.
You know what the difference is? Anthony Richardson went to Florida. And Anthony Richardson went to
Cam Newton
any
went
other
there
school.
too.
Cam Newton went to Florida too.
But he left. And he left. He left.
Just got kicked out.
He left. We're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that. We're not talking about that. He left. So Anthony Richardson. Only problem is he went to Florida and he stayed. He should have left. This would be a totally different conversation. But like he's saying, I'm just gonna go, and that's why I'm not in the position to make the decision. But me, I'm gonna go. Hey, I'm gonna think about that, because if I draft him and he turned out to be 70% of what I think he could be, with his legs and his robin, he is box office. Like, they will come see him.
His legs is going to be the show right now.
Was throwing to middle schoolers.
Yeah,
Well,
Because
I mean,
there was
Cam Newton
on the Newton
on the Newton, done it in college.
On the Newton team, on the Newton undefeated Auburn team, there was not an NFL lineman. There was not a wide receiver that caught a pass in the NFL. There was not a tight end that caught a pass in the NFL. And there was not a running back that ran the ball in the NFL on that team that played that season.
Cam Newton still had a season for everybody to remember, and was way ahead of where Anthony Richardson is.
Exactly.
Now.
But when they break down the film on Anthony Richardson, there's about 5 or 6 passes that he puts on the money that should have been touchdowns, and the wide receivers of Florida just missed them.
You know who? And this is something that people are going to say. You know what Anthony Richardson's arm reminds me of?
I know who you're going to say.
Okay,
no, you have no idea who I'm going to say.
Okay.
I know exactly who you're going to say.
Who you going to say?
You have no idea who I'm going to say. I'm going to say I think his arm reminds me of Randall Cunningham.
His arm.
I knew it.
His arm.
You did not.
Hold on.
Randall Cunningham. Anthony Richardson's arm reminds me of Randall Cunningham. I don't know if y'all remember Randall Cunningham.
Come on, 12? Come on now. 12?
But that dude could just, he could be on the run and he could slice, and that ball was a rocket out of his arm. Like, Anthony Richardson's, the way he can throw the ball on the run and stuff reminds me of Randall Cunningham.
I totally agree. So that's why, and that's another reason why we're saying, hey, if I draft him one, and because like I said, it's so many people you can compare him to, and everything. If I'm a GM, all I'm saying is, you know what, he hadn't had a chance to be coached by my coaches. my coaches can coach him up.
The only difference is Randall Cunningham was a little skinnier, and AR's a pretty big dude. So
and he has the size to take. Now he has to be careful because he still can get caught too by one of them dudes. But so what about so you're saying that no Bryce Young? So who's your number 2, Brad?
Who do I think is going to go number 2?
No, who's going to go number 1? You said Bryce Young's not going to go number 1.
No, I do think Bryce Young's going to go number 1.
But if you said what it was that if you would you take him? You said no. So who would you take at number 1 if you was making a pick?
I don't know for sure because I don't really think that there is a defensive player at the top of the board that would stand out to me that I would take. Jalen Carter would be the answer to that, but he's got so many off the field issues and
takes too many plays off.
And he doesn't have the motor, but let me put it this way.
More like he doesn't have the motivation.
Yes, he doesn't have the motivation. He doesn't have the care. He has the motor when he wants to. Okay.
The want to.
Yeah. It's the want to is what it is with Jalen Carter.
He's not a worthy number 1 pick. He's not a worthy number 1 pick.
And there's no other defender, I think, I'm not crazy about Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson. Everybody's talking about, he's not a number 1 guy.
Okay.
So,
and I hear this.
Carolina traded up.
Wait. So if there's not another guy you think, is there an offensive tackle that could be that?
Number 1 pick?
Yeah, could you take an offensive tackle?
If you're taking and you're not taking a quarterback, because I didn't hear you say you wouldn't take a quarterback. You just said other picks are unworthy. So you wouldn't spend that number 1 on a quarterback is what you're saying, Brad.
No, I probably would take one of these quarterbacks.
Which one would you take?
If you want to know the truth, and I'm going to sound like a homer, but I would take Levis.
Okay, exactly.
I would take Levis, and the reason why I would take Will Levis is because I think he is the most NFL ready player today. Right now, he's the most NFL ready player today. I think
what you just said is you said that I don't trust any of my coaches to develop any players that are supposedly too raw or not worthy of being a number 1. I have to go for the surefire thing, or what I think would be the most surefire thing. That's what you just said.
Depends on it depends on which team you're talking about. Carolina Panthers.
It doesn't depend on anybody.
If we're talking about the Carolina Panthers, no, I don't exactly trust their. I don't exactly trust that. I think they need an NFL ready quarterback. I really do.
Then they need to fire their coaching staff first, and then go worry about the number 1 pick.
But that's not what's going to happen.
I'm a GM. I thought I put my trust in the coaching staff.
They just fired their Matt Rule in the middle of the season last year.
Yes.
Well, they got a coach in place right now. So that's why we're saying that. So you're not going to give them a chance to coach up a number 1 pick, a franchise-changing player that can ultimately leads us to where we hadn't been in quite a while. Because if I do remember, the Carolina Panthers, the last time they drafted a number 1 pick and they drafted a quarterback, that same quarterback led them to the Super Bowl
and was the MVP. And was the MVP of the
I'm
league.
just saying. So I understand.
And I'm going to be honest with you guys.
By the way,
I also think Stroud would probably be if
nobody's
I was
talking
picking
about Stroud. Why are you not talking about Stroud?
If I was picking at number 1, the 2 that I would be considering and going between would be Stroud and Levis. That would be my 2.
Okay.
I got you.
Now, I just want to throw this out there. just because I also feel like being very much a homer. The same season that Cam Newton won the MVP and led his team to the Super Bowl, guess who else was an MVP of their respective league?
Are you talking football?
I'm talking that I am a homer, so this is going to be an former Auburn player.
Yeah, I'm trying to
I have no idea.
Josh Donaldson won the AL MVP in the exact same season, 2015, with the Toronto Blue Jays. Donaldson and Cam Newton won MVPs of their respective leagues in the same season from the same school.
Okay, I got you.
I don't know. I'm sure that there have been other schools or players from other schools that have done it in the same year. I'm sure that there have been different sports that have done it. This is the first I've ever heard of it, but just it is a unique stat.
With Stroud playing at Ohio State and playing and throwing to receivers like JSN we talked about, Marvin Harrison Jr., and throwing to NFL-type wide receivers and having that kind of offense, I actually think that he is probably NFL ready as well.
Yes.
That would be my two takes. And the only reason why I would not put Bryce Young in that is his size. There has never been. Do you know that an NFL quarterback in the entire history of the NFL, that only one quarterback has won a playoff game under 6 foot?
That's what's his face from Boston College.
One. That's it.
From Boston College, correct?
Doug Flutie.
Yeah, Flutie, right?
One. That's it.
Wait. You said under 6 feet?
Yes, under 6 feet tall.
So Russell was
one.
Not, what's Russell's size?
Russell about 5'10", 6 feet. Yeah,
I think.
No, Russell. He's about 6 feet.
I think he's listed 6 feet. I believe.
Okay.
Is he really 6 feet?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just telling you what the stats what the NFL stats say.
What was Drew Brees listed at?
I guess they're all listed, right around 6 foot, I guess.
He gonna make it hard for you. He got some questions.
I have questions.
I'm just telling you. I saw this on ESPN today. Okay,
that's because they were all lying about their height.
Well, bring out the tape.
Listen, tape. I don't give a crap if they're lying about their height. I'm going by what they're saying. Yeah. I'm just telling you.
Height is. Yeah.
One quarterback has ever won an NFL playoff game under 6 foot. One. Yeah. That's it.
Doug Flutie, and that's the quarterback, right?
I mean yes, that's it.
Okay. I was just making sure that I was actually correct in the name. That's
a long history, guys, of NFL quarterbacks. And for Bryce Young to be that slight, not only in height, but in weight, I don't know if any NFL quarterback
I have a question.
190.
I have a question. How many quarterbacks taller than 6 feet have not ever made the playoffs? That's a question we should all be asking.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense because you're saying how many quarterbacks? There's not been many quarterbacks that have played that have been under 6 feet. Okay, so there's not going to be very many that have ever won a playoff game. But
there's a reason why there's not many that's not played.
What I'm saying is almost all of them are over 6 feet. So there is a large number of quarterbacks who have never made the playoffs who
But you're
were
missing the whole
above
point.
6
The whole
feet. No.
point of that
I
is
see the point.
being
I'm
on
just
6
being
feet
dumb.
is
It's
very,
hilarious.
very like it just doesn't happen.
Jason sees the humor.
Hey man, listen. Yeah, you missed it, Brad. You're exactly right, Brad. You're exactly right. It is a tough, violent game, and I mean, I can understand you got to be able to take the pounding and you know the blind side hits. You don't know if he takes one of those big hits where if he can get back up. You know, so I can understand what you're saying about that because the NFL is a violent game, but I mean, at the same time, at one point in time, if I'm not mistaken, he had a teammate, Will Anderson, who was considered to be #1 pick at one point in time. You know, so if you're not sold on these quarterbacks, you know, because it's very rare would any four of them be ready to lead you into a Super Bowl next year. You know,
We
they're
can
going to
move
have
on
to
to it.
have
I've got that listed here as our top defenders. So we'll go
okay,
on and let you talk
right
about our
into
top
it.
defenders. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Will Anderson was talked about last year, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? I think he decided to come back to school. But or if the case,
Yeah.
well, I think he has a chance to be really, really good. Prototypical right now, you know, edge rusher. You know, look at Parsons at what he does for the Cowboys. I mean, those type of players, impact players who can get to the ball. Come on, they change the whole dynamic of your defense. And we all do know defense is where you win championships. So yes, hey, let's throw his name into the pot.
Well, I mean, so the top defenders, if you that are being the names that are being thrown out is Tyree Wilson is
Okay.
considered in the top, you know, at least 6 or 8 picks. Will Anderson, Jalen Carter is probably the 3 top defender names that is being talked about. Jalen Carter, I mean, you're talking about names. So before this season started, most people thought Jalen Carter had a great chance of being the #1 pick before this season started. And I'll throw another name out there that people talked about as a #1 pick, and that was Nolan Smith from Georgia
Exactly.
before this season started.
You're right.
Now, Nolan Smith got hurt and didn't play. And
but he's still considered top 10 pick.
But so he wasn't, but he went to the NFL Combine and showed out. And everybody was like, whoa, remember this guy? You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of buzz now that maybe he slides up into the top 10 or 12 picks.
I can see that. But I can tell you this: if Jalen Carter ends up with the Seattle Seahawks, he will be an All-Pro because and we know. I think you guys had a conversation with a Seattle guy. I know for a fact because I had someone personally who played there, and Seattle does a great job of coaching their D linemen up. You know that, man. Listen, and you know Pete Carroll is going to put a shield around that young man to make sure that he's okay. So I think going to Seattle wouldn't be a bad thing for Jalen Carter because sometimes being the #1 pick, you know, you have that stigma. You don't want to let folks down. You want to be worthy of that pick. But once again,
I kind of thought that Carter might get picked as Seahawks #5 well, but when we had Rob Staten on with us and the Seahawks Insider, he didn't think that they were going to take Jalen Carter at 5. He swore off and said that won't happen. I don't know.
And you're absolutely right. I'm just saying, me personally, if he was to get there, that would be that would have been a great landing spot because of the way they coach up.
Now, here's where I think Jalen Carter, the best Jalen Carter will land on Thursday night, in my opinion, is #3 Arizona. I think that Arizona Cardinals could possibly take a chance on Jalen Carter as a game changer and have that game changer on the defensive line to possibly, if he does pan out and find his want to, he would be a game changer for them. And you were talking about taking chances a while ago and making fun of me and everything, John. If I'm going to take a chance, if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, as long as I don't trade back, because that is also the one spot that I think teams
up to get to that spot. Did they not?
No,
they didn't. Okay, I
no.
thought they had traded up.
No, so there's
the
been talk. There's been talk.
The Titans are the third pick.
Do what?
I thought the Titans. I don't know what I'm looking at.
No. So the Titans are one of the teams that's in talks to trade up for that third pick.
I got you.
Okay, but there's about 3 or 4 teams that's in talks with Arizona. But if Arizona keeps the pick, excuse me, if I was them, I probably would take Jalen Carter. I mean, you think about this, for the Arizona Cardinals, in my opinion, if they can find that kind of big cat on the defensive line to solidify their defensive line like that at the third pick, if they're going to keep that pick, I think that's the way to go for them. If they're going defense.
As a replacement of J.J. Watt.
If they're going defense. Yes. If they're going defense, I think the chance is right there for Arizona Cardinals at the third pick. That's what I think.
Now I see why the Tennessee Titans are in talks about that pick.
Because they have Mike Vrabel.
a Patriot descendant. So I'm willing to bet he will go get he would take a chance on Richardson or one of them other quarterbacks. He just need him a quarterback. He want him a quarterback.
He doesn't. Oh well, yeah. The Titans. I thought you.
No, I mean they have Malik Willis, but that they just drafted last year, by the way.
And sometimes you understand, hey, he's going to be a good backup. We drafted a good backup. NFL, you got to have two.
Yeah.
You got to have two.
Oh, I think the Titans are definitely in play to trade up. And if they do, they will be going after a quarterback. Yeah. And I'll say this.
It could be.
And I'll say this. If they do trade up to that third spot, they will pick one of, I believe, Will Levis or Anthony Richardson.
I don't think they would risk it on Anthony Richardson.
I think they would.
I don't think they will risk it on Anthony Richardson. I think that they would go Will Levis if they traded up.
If they trade up,
I can see that because having already a 2,000-yard runner, you really don't need a quarterback that's running either. You need somebody who can put it in that stomach and pull it back.
Maybe they surprise everybody and pick Hendon Hooker.
Yes, we're going to pick a guy that won't be ready physically in time for the season.
That was a joke a little bit.
Correct.
Tennessee, haha. That was a joke.
It's because they're not drinking that.
No, I ain't drinking no Vol stuff. I can promise you.
Tennessee whiskey.
But
what's asparagus?
So I think that Jalen Carter might go at 3 to Arizona. That would be my kind of surprise pick out of the top. Here's what I'll say about Will Levis. I do not think Will Levis will fall past 4. I don't think it'll happen. If Will
Levis will go in the second round.
If Will Levis is still on the board when the Indianapolis Colts have the pick at number 4, he will come off the board with the Colts.
Oh no, hey, listen, I don't know about that.
That's my prediction, and I could be wrong. And if I am, I'll stand up. But
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. But what I'm saying is, if I'm that, I don't want to be that fourth quarterback on the board waiting to be taken, because it was a reason why, unless it's, Anthony Richardson, unless it's him, you already know what people think then. But if I'm one of those other guys, they're probably gonna slide.
Yeah,
because those teams starting out to have
I agree with you.
needs. Yeah,
but the Colts are taking a quarterback. They've entertained them all off. They've matter of fact, yesterday, Will Levis had a huge meeting with the last before the draft. He had a meeting with Indianapolis Colts, like his third meeting with them yesterday on Monday before the draft. I do not believe if he is still there, if he doesn't go number one, if he doesn't go number two to Houston, if nobody trades up with Arizona to get him at 3, and he is still there at 4, I do not believe that he will go any further than 4th. That's just what I'm going to say. Now, AR, I actually believe there's a chance if he's there that AR will be picked 7th by the Raiders. I think that's where he might go.
You mean that they don't want to continue with the Auburn quarterback? They don't want to continue with him.
I'm telling you, the Raiders are on. They've been looking at quarterbacks. They've had Levis out and stuff too. The Raiders have, but here's the deal. I think that's the most likely landing spot for Anthony Richardson is number 7 to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Didn't they bring in who did they bring in? They brought
and
in someone.
And if he's not picked there, my second best spot for him would actually be Tennessee at 11 if they don't trade, if he's still there. At 11, I think Tennessee would take a shot at him if he's still there. Anthony Richardson.
Maybe.
I don't think they would trade up and get him at 3, but I think they would take him at 11 if they don't trade up.
Somebody's going to be waiting. Somebody's going to wait, and if he starts to slip, somebody's going to get him. Because you might have an ace in the hole.
Who's picking 14th? Do you have the order in front of you?
Yes, I got the order.
14th is the Texans. No, they're 12th.
They're 12.
Sorry.
I can't remember who 14 is.
I know who 15 is. It's the Jets.
Yeah, and 13 is the Packers now.
The Patriots.
The Patriots looking for a QB as well. That's the reason why I'm asking about 14. The spots.
I see Belichick doing that.
Yeah, the spots I was talking about, the spots that are looking for QBs. There's a chance that if one of them takes a slide, I think Belichick will take a QB at 14 if one of those top 4 is still there. That would be my last spot before, say, the Bucks at 19.
We're talking about the Bucks.
Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Talking about the Bucks.
The Packers.
Speaking of the Bucks, we need to go get We need to go get Ryan Nanny to go talk about his Buccaneers.
All right, so I'm also, since we're all been talking about QBs, I do want to throw in. I think there's a chance that Hendon Hooker gets picked late in the first round. I really
There's
do.
a chance. There's a chance.
I think Minnesota might take him late. There's a couple of teams right around like 20. Who's 27?
Let's see, 27. 27. That's the Bills.
Okay. No.
Probably not there.
There's another team. There's a kind of late in there. I know Minnesota.
The Ravens are looking for a quarterback. Where are they picking?
You got the Ravens at 22.
See, there you go.
Yeah, you got the Ravens 22.
Minnesota at 23, I think.
The Vikings. Then you got the Jaguars, the Giants, Cowboys, Bills, Bengals, Saints. Saints. Seattle. Then the Chiefs.
All right.
So,
does anybody take care of their quarterback needs by trading for Lamar Jackson during the draft?
listen, if I was saying this, the Colts, I think if they can pull it off, I think they should make that move. I think they're Lamar Jackson away. They're to me, they're a dynamic quarterback away, and I don't know if one of these quarterbacks in the draft, it's like.
I think the Colts are that close.
I mean, any other team, no one else is going to do it if it's not the Colts. You see what I'm saying? They have what you can give up for them. First round draft pick. I don't know if they had two or Seattle had two. I think the Seahawks. I think Seattle had two, but I mean, the Colts are not a number 4 pick away from the Super Bowl. Is what I'm saying. If you were able to get a Lamar, and guess what? Now you bring a GM. I bring Lamar to Indianapolis. The last quarterback we had up here that was successful was Luck, but before that was Manning. Like, I need someone to come in who's a combination between both. Or at least try to be, because Peyton is Peyton, But Luck came in and did.
My only issue with Lamar is he simply is asking too much money.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Because if I'm an MVP caliber player and Deshaun Watson got
I can't
know that that's a bad deal. Okay, because if I'm looking behind me, Joe Burrow's going to get that. The kid from the Bills is going to get that. Chargers quarterback is going to get that. So how can you skip over me?
I wouldn't. 300 million? I wouldn't.
I'm not saying it's 300 million. I mean, he's looking for a guaranteed of 2. In my opinion, he's looking for a guaranteed of 2. If Deshaun Watson,
I was told, and I don't know if this is right, but I was told that he turned down a $300 million offer from the Ravens.
You don't know how much a guaranteed contract, guaranteed portion.
I don't know.
And you don't know.
And like I said,
yeah.
But I was told he actually turned down a $300 million contract from the Ravens.
But they probably offered it just because they knew he was going to turn it down.
Yeah, 15 year, 300 million, or 12 year. Something that breaks down.
And that's insane, guys. I mean, that's just insane.
Because Cleveland reset the market. The market.
Listen, I'm old school. I don't.
Well, you're old school, but we're talking about the new school number.
We're talking about now.
Yeah, the new school number.
It's ridiculous.
You mean to tell me Kyler Murray deserves more than Lamar Jackson? No.
I have no idea how much Kyler Murray is making. I can't say it right.
Guaranteed between 130 and 140 guaranteed.
I'll tell you this: the other day, Jalen Hurts, $180 million guarantee for a quarterback is insane. Insane.
They reset the market. They're talking about the upfront
That's
contract.
insane, guys.
That's
You
the
don't
upfront of the
for
contract.
an NFL quarterback. You don't know if the very next play, if his career is not going to be over.
What more do you want?
That's
from me?
insane.
Okay, so there's $300 million that are going to Major League Baseball players, and you don't know that they won't tear their ACL running to first base or
Man, that is true. But NFL players is a total different game. It's a total different game.
Exactly. So the more violent the game, the more risk, the more money.
Which
That's
is so higher risk.
No, that's not the way it's ever been. That's not the way the NFL.
That's how it is now.
That is not how it's ever been in the NFL. Ever.
No matter what it used to be, it's what it is right now. And what it is right now is
I'm telling you. $180 million for an NFL player is insane.
You are refusing to believe that what it is right now is that it is the high risk, high reward. They are paying more money because the players know that they are putting more risk. All the CT, when all that stuff went down, the players' contracts, the new CBA, they got more guaranteed.
So you're
money.
telling me that you would be okay with paying Jalen Hurts $180 million guarantee, and 2 weeks from now he completely shatters his leg and is done.
You know,
Alex Smith just happened 4 or 5 years ago. Do y'all?
Brad, I'm gonna tell you, Brad. Let me say this: you were a pass interference away from winning the Super Bowl. You were a pass interference away from almost seeing Jalen Hurts go down and win your Super Bowl. Do you know how much Jalen Hurts made the Philadelphia Eagles this year? Do you know from all the merch and concession?
So one season is worth that?
He did it. He did it at the end of the season before, and he continued. His upward trajectory is going up. So I might as well pay him right now.
Oh, by the way, he didn't lose in high school. He had a very successful Alabama career and Oklahoma career. So he's done it at every level. He's proven.
That still doesn't guarantee. The guarantee means that you're locked in for this, and you have no idea if tomorrow he's going to go out and his career is over.
So
and
Brad,
you don't know that
Alex Smith just happened 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. So when Joe Montana signed his deal, you knew he was Joe Montana.
And Joe Montana got jack nothing in guarantee. Back then, there was no guarantee.
Joe Montana played in the 80s.
Exactly. So now,
people got hit way more than they get hit now.
Is different.
So you mean to tell me Kareem
Abdul-Jabbar?
There's more money now than there was then. There was no money then. There's more money now.
Do they not guarantee? Should they not get $100 million? Kareem, think about it. Kareem, Magic, Barkley, Shaq. They wasn't getting these $100 million contract.
Lord, $200 million contract. They didn't get anywhere near that kind of money.
That's why.
Also, Joe Montana wouldn't survive in today's game.
The TV deals, Brad, there's more money. You know, the NFL lost a lawsuit. They lost a lawsuit against the players. They have to. They're making billions, Brad. Billions. $100 million is $100,000 to an owner. You know, that's nothing. They're making billions.
I can't. I mean, that's just insane amount of money. Insane.
Yes, it is.
That's why.
But guess what? That's today.
A guarantee to any football player for that amount of money is insanity, in my opinion.
You failed at marketing class.
Well, hey.
I mean,
if they're giving, that's all the NFL players ever.
Baseball is a different story. It's non-contact.
It's less
marketing
violent.
themselves.
So you'd rather give like they've been doing the less violent game gets the least amount of guarantee, but we're entertaining you for 4 quarters. We're entertaining you, and we're not going to.
It's about risk. You're not the one putting out the money.
Well,
what if it's your?
If it's my pocket and I have a young quarterback with a young nucleus, I'm going to sign my young quarterback so I don't have a Lamar Jackson episode. I'm going to go ahead and sign him and get it out the way.
Most likely, with the way I made my money is I took a lot of risks and I got really heavily rewarded. And I built up an ego of how well that I feel and believe in myself and what I have built. And most likely I am going to live off of that because it has worked for me all the way up until this moment in which I'm making. And because ego, and I feel like the coaching staff I have put together and the money that I have made and accumulated in the years off of several risks coming in, I believe I can take certain risks, and I believe that I will find a way to be successful in taking such risks. You could also be the Braves and have Marcell Ozuna sign a massive contract after doing he had a breakout year, did really well, signs a massive contract, and he can't even hit over 0.50 in the major leagues. He is like 4 for 100 and something. Okay.
Man.
You could have that. Yes, you could. But for every Marcell Ozuna that's out there, you have guys like Ronald Acuna, who you underpay by $200 million. So
football is
he's getting $100 million. He's getting $100 million, and he is worth $300.
I mean, look at DeMar Hamlin.
Getting whatever he's getting, and he's worth $0.
Look what happened to DeMar Hamlin last year. Football's an entirely different game.
But
the market and the value in which you place on players is still the same. You are still placing value on what you believe that person will do.
So, Brad, you do know if Hamlin would have unfortunately passed away, that the company, the Bills, will be liable for everything, even though he knows what he signed up for. Correct? So that's another reason to make sure that these guys are well compensated. Like, correct, you can have a major injury in basketball, tennis, baseball, and it can be caused by, the way you came down. You messed your knee up. You broke your arm, something like that. In football, your brain is moving. You're getting hit so hard that your head,
stops.
Violent. So they're putting their bodies on the line for, like he just said, an owner who's not making just money off his NFL team. He has other things he's doing too that allows him to own an NFL team. And so, of course, and the market is set now, Brett. Like, you have to pay these guys, the quarterbacks.
I think
up
it's
between
insane.
200 million.
You may not agree.
The 256 million total,
but it is there.
Is bad enough.
Have been set.
But the 180 million guarantee is complete insanity.
It's front loaded. Yeah. He get on the first 3-4 years of his deal,
and that's it. Because he is, he knows that his longevity with what he does, and the longevity of everybody else, that they want to get their money and they want to have it guaranteed, and they want it.
You are talking about this and looking at this from Jalen Hurts' point of view. Of course, he wants to get his money.
Well, Brad, I'm gonna say this.
I mean, that's not what I'm talking about.
But Brad,
there are 30 GMs that are there that are paying these players this insane amount of money.
Brad, they agreed. We're not talking about speculatory numbers. We're not talking about numbers that are maybe. This is true. they agreed to this.
Yeah, they agreed.
They think about it, Brad.
They got in a room and they negotiated, and then they
it's
signed
insanity.
and they signed
No,
an
it's not.
agreement.
No, it's not.
It isn't. It's an agreement.
You know what? What you're saying? The Deshaun Watson contract was the one $230 million guaranteed, and I just gave him $189. Like they're trying to reset the market.
Steal.
Yeah,
that is
that's
a steal. I just stole $50 million.
Think about it. They got away from the high because Jalen, he could have asked for the most. Like, I want to be just right here because, hey, y'all saw what I did.
We started talking about contracts. There's no telling what Lamar Jackson's asking for. I have no idea. Guarantee-wise.
I think he wants a guarantee of $200 million. So, but I think the thing that's hurting him is he doesn't have an agent that's negotiating for him. And I think that he is missing some of the finer points of the negotiation. Because, like they said, if he wants to negotiate his contract, where do they go? The owners' meeting. He should have been down at the owners' meeting. Him and his people who was around him. If you were trying, because
Deshaun Watson really got $230 million
guaranteed.
Yes.
Yeah. So
are you serious?
Now you see,
I haven't paid that close attention to it.
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah. You see
or a year before.
Or the year before.
Maybe.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So that's why Lamar.
That's just unbelievable.
Like, if you're gonna pay him, that's the market. That's the market. Yeah.
That's how capitalism works.
What the crap has Deshaun Watson done in the NFL?
I had a couple flashes. Showed flashes. But
I mean, he was great at Clemson.
But
I'm not saying he's not. He's
been pretty good in Houston. I say that he had some good moments. When he had Hopkins, he had some good moments. But think about it, Cleveland needed.
He's not had moments like Lamar Jackson's had.
So if I'm Lamar Jackson, what do you want?
He's not had moments like Jalen Hurts has had.
So if I'm Lamar Jackson, if you're Lamar Jackson, what are you saying now? Now you see
what I'm saying is they majorly overpaid for Deshaun Watson. That's what I'm saying.
So if you're Lamar Jackson,
majorly.
So if I'm an owner, what I do is I say, well, they've overpaid for Deshaun Watson. The market should be that the top tier quarterback is what Jalen Hurts is, and I'm going to pay you less than Jalen Hurts. Boom.
They're trying to reset the market for the quarterback.
Because, that's how it works. But
what?
Oh, Howie Fresh going up there is talking about how Lamar Jackson's the best running back.
The best running back in the league.
So then that drops the value way down, and we can pay him even less.
But
running backs are getting a raw deal in the NFL nowadays.
Yeah, because they only last like 3 years, if that.
Yeah,
think about
you speak. So since he brought up, let's move on because now I am hearing talk that Bijan Robinson might get picked at the 8 or the 10 spot in the NFL draft coming up on Thursday night. And if he does, that'd be pretty shocking for a running back to go in the top 10. Do y'all think there's a chance in that?
They got him 18 going to the Lions.
I know, but Eagles might try to nab him.
I was just about to say that. I can see the Eagles because, the type of offense they got, having a dynamic running back like that, maybe, be able to hit the hole real gone. It'd be perfect. It would be a steal for the Eagles. It would be a steal.
I'm hearing the Eagles might be able to take that chance.
Would it be better for them to go get one in the second?
I mean, if I'm a GM, it could change. It changed, but I mean, knowing the Eagles, Jalen Carter might fall right to him. They take Jalen Carter. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, they'll take if Jalen Carter's there at 10, they'll take him.
Yeah, they'll take him.
I guarantee you. I'd almost guarantee you that if he's available, they will take Jalen Carter.
Yeah, but yeah, running backs, man. Yeah, that. Hey, and then he can also fall to the Cowboys. The Cowboys will draft.
You talking about Robinson?
I'm talking about Robinson.
Yeah, if he's around
Yeah.
when the Cowboys pick, I expect the Cowboys to go get him.
Oh, I think he'll. But the Cowboys don't pick to like what 24, 25,
Again,
26.
26.
Think about it. Running backs hadn't been going in the first round here later in the NFL draft towards the end.
Yep. Towards the end of the first round, or sometime
round.
in the second round. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
There's only
hasn't
predicted
been,
like what one running back.
there hasn't been very
round?
many running backs picked in the first round. Period. Lately.
Correct. That's what we just said.
Yeah. I mean, for several years.
Yeah.
Yes. The trend has gone away from the running back. Yes.
Which is
You got
strange because if you go back and look at like the 90s and the 2000s,
and edge rushers.
if you go back and look at the 90s and the 2000s, though, running backs went in the top 10 all the time.
But you got to understand which type of running backs were coming out. There were not many coming out in these spread offenses. There's a lot of spread offense. You had a lot of running backs who you can actually line up in the eye, put it in their stomach, and watch them work, or sweep it to them. So you got to think the type of backs that were coming out. It's not too many of the Derrick Henrys left.
There's not too many of them that have a
Fresh,
second contract.
we've covered the Will Levis story at the beginning of the show. You'll have to catch it, but yeah, we did cover that, man. On how his odds went up for the number 1 and number 2. We did cover that at the beginning.
Yep.
Just want to throw that out there since Fresh is mentioning it.
Yeah, he said he'll go back.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I just want to throw that out there for the running back, that maybe John Robinson. I definitely think he's going to be a first-round pick for sure. And I think there's a possibility that they might try to nab him at 10. And I've also heard that there is a long, kind of an outside shot that the Falcons grab him at 8.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure, but we'll see. The Falcons, I believe, if he's still there, I think they'll take Tyree Wilson, edge rusher. I think that's who they'll take if he's still there at 8, but we'll see. That's who I think they're going to take. But like I said, we'll see. But I heard talk today that they might nab B.J. Robinson at 8, which I think would be a pretty high reach for a running back.
Who do you think will be the first defensive back taken?
Trying to think of his last name. Christian. What's his last name?
Gonzalez from Oregon.
Christian Gonzalez. Thank you. I was trying to think of his last name.
They got Devin Witherspoon.
Devin Witherspoon and Christian Gonzalez are probably the top. They'll be the first 2 defensive backs taken, more than likely. And both of them could be top 10.
Exactly.
They both could be top 10.
That's the premium position. That's the premium position now. And the cornerback and the wide receiver. Who are the playmakers, and who are the guys that can stop these playmakers? That's the premium position. Besides the interior and the quarterbacks, that's the premier position right now.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. Edge, an awesome D tackle edge, quarterback. You have to be a really awesome offensive lineman to be a top 5 pick. You can be. Sometimes you know offensive lineman there. And then cornerbacks, wide receivers, cornerbacks are even more taken more. A good cornerback could be taken over a wide receiver.
But I think, and as I'm looking at the list and things, I'm seeing the same thing. You want to have at least 3 offensive tackles taken in the first round, 3 or 4, maybe 5. Because
I think that if you're going all the way through the first round, I think there'll be at least 5 offensive tackle, offensive linemen. Actually, one of them is going to be a guard. I think Osiris Torrance from Florida is going to go late in the first round, and he's an offensive guard.
No doubt.
So you have Skoronski, you'll have
Broderick Jones, and Harris Johnson Jr. will be the 3 big ones.
Yep.
Yeah, and that'll be the 3 tackles taken.
Yeah.
Edge rushers, you'll have, of course, Will Anderson. You'll have Miles Murphy, Tyree Wilson, Nolan Smith, Lucas Van Ness from Iowa will probably go in the first round.
Will McDonald, don't be surprised about that, from Iowa State edge rusher.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I would not be surprised. Now, I think he'll probably be a second rounder, but I would not be surprised if one of the last 3 or 4 teams like Kansas City or the Eagles or the Bills or Cincinnati, one of the better teams there towards the end, I would not be surprised to see them pick Jack Campbell, linebacker from Iowa, late in the first round.
I mean, at that point, when you're at the latter part of the first round, you really have your choice of guys who could have been top 15 picks. And so, hey, some of those guys were landing on great teams immediately.
That's what I mean, because you've got a great team already, so you just kind of add Jack Campbell to it, and I think that'd be a good spot for him to land. Is what I mean.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a question for you. Would you rather be a can't miss first round, first number 1 pick overall player and go to a really bad team, or be somebody that slid and went late in the first round, but you'll never be remembered, but go to a really good team?
See, I'm a competitive guy. So for me, it's a pretty easy question. I would rather slide myself and go to a good team and have chances to win over the next 10 years.
That's saying that everybody else is better than me.
And
No.
That's why I said that was a loaded question, because what he said.
No, I'm saying is I'm not competitive.
You go to a good team
over
myself and be forgotten.
I would much rather be on a competitive team and be a part and be on a great team.
So you'd rather be a no-name player on a great team rather than be the best player out there.
If I can find my role and be a starter on a great team, I don't have to be a Pro Bowler. I don't have to be that.
You just said, hey, I don't want to sign for all the money. I want to work for it. That's basically what you're saying. I'm saying, give me, and I'm going to show you why you're going to give me some more. That's what I'm not.
Honestly, I'm not. You're right. I would rather sign for lower and work my way towards it. Because that's my mindset.
You know, I'm going to be on a scale in which you have to keep up with me because my number goes up every year. I was a first rounder. I was a can't miss guy, and I'm going to show you that I can lead this franchise. Oh, give me some more money. Give me some more money because I'm still here.
See what I just did there? Give me more money. See what I just did?
Listen,
I deserve more money.
I would play and take Jack Campbell's place. A guy like him.
He's already coming from a very forgettable place. He's coming from Iowa.
Exactly.
Nobody remembers who played at Iowa.
Exactly. But he's a darn good player, and he's going to make some good team a great middle linebacker. I promise you.
Right. And then he will set off somewhere and probably be a coach.
And most people people won't remember his name.
And he will be when he's a coach, he's gonna bring back the mindset of bring your lunch pail to work. You know, I mean, that's exactly what he is because he comes from Iowa, and that's just what they do.
Yeah, I agree.
But you could be a boy named Stu. In Dominican.
That's exactly what happened.
Who went, to a shitty team. Let's just go ahead and say what it is. Because he went to the Lions. And then he
disappeared.
But everybody still knew who he was. Guess what? He also has a championship.
He got paid too now. Detroit gave him
He got paid.
He got paid, man. And he got paid again.
And won a ring.
But I'm just saying, he was the name coming out and everything, and then 5, 6, 7 years later, nobody even he disappeared.
No, he did not.
He didn't disappear. Every team that went into Detroit knew exactly who he was.
Yeah,
because they all got bruised by him.
Yeah, Sue. Big Sue.
That's right. My name is Sue. How do you do?
All right. Our Home for Our Troops 2023 nonprofit organization we're asking you to give to this year is Home for Our Troops. They are rebuilding lives by building homes for injured and wounded veterans. And they've been doing this for over 20 plus years. For every dollar that you give, 90 cents of that dollar goes towards rebuilding their lives by building them homes. You can give to them at www.hfotusa.org. We appreciate you guys being on with us tonight. We're just a bunch of guys that like to get on, talk sports, maybe debate a little bit, yell at each other, get on each other's nerves every now and then.
Jason and I are closer in age, so we kind of believe the same thing. We've evolved with the times, We're not out here going to kick off.
I will fully admit that I am set in my ways and old school.
Hey,
old school ain't always the best school. Just remember that.
Nobody said anything about the best. I want to throw something out at y'all before I want to throw something out at you before we go off there. This is something about for Thursday night because I want to bring this up. So yesterday, the SEC is putting out where they are going to upgrade their rules against schools for field and court storming, including more than likely the home team losing their next home game. And the SEC is I'll try to look into it. Don't get into it tonight because we're fixing to end the show. But I want y'all to think about it and kind of look into it and I just kind of wanted to give a take, so fans can look forward to hearing about it next time. So on Thursday night, we'll be back.
Thank you, Alabama versus Tennessee. Thank you.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yep.
You messed it all up.
So
It's your fault.
we'll be back on Thursday night with the NFL Draft live. We'll be doing some instant reactions and talking about player analysis and stuff like that, what team they're going to, if it's a good, that kind of stuff. So be with us on Thursday night at 8, and we'll be on about an hour after the draft starts to kind of go through most of the first round for you on Thursday night till from 8 to 30 Central Time. And we appreciate you guys being on with us. Y'all have a good night. We will see you Thursday for NFL